I'm Joe Onstott. This is my final. Question one is explain the basic concepts of social work interviewing. In the field of social work, the basic concepts of interviewing is to engage client by questioning, consulting them as to why they're here. For instance, when I talked to Greg or Sam, I gave myself a proper introduction, asked them how they were here, how they got here, so on and so forth. That was really comforting. And in order to obtain the most information, social workers must use tactics such as empathy with their client to help him or her feel comfortable in the setting in setting short and long-term goals for whatever it is that they wish to achieve. And in doing so, with me being like warming towards them, they were able to come to me towards their problems really easily. Question number two is what helping processes are involved in the stages of social work practice? Well, there's 5 different stages. There's engagement and preparation, assessment, planning, and contracting, intervention and implementation, evaluation and termination, and the follow-up. Throughout these, there are processes and tactics you have to use. In the engagement and preparation, it's always wise to greet the client, comfort them, so on and so forth. Explain them the idea of note taking. Say, hey, I'm going to be taking notes throughout this, blah 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 blah. And if you say any harm, say any threats about harming yourself or harming others, then you have to report to higher authority about the situation. Make sure they understand the rules and speculations and everything, and also just show them that you're a human being as well. Pretty much throw some humor in there, so on and so forth. And for the assessment, planning, and contracting, it's pretty much you have to explore the problem. You have to dig into the finer detail of it and see what short and long-term goals they wish to set. Go through, establish a little written contract, something they agree to sign to, and see what they would want to do from there. With the intervention and implementing, we would have to look at the progress, see how far they've come since the last visit, see what drawbacks they might have had, pick up on all sorts of successes, small, big, so on and so forth, and even emphasize on it a little bit, make them feel that they're even more powerful than they actually are, because then it'll give them that in itself will give them more power to take things into their own hands and do their own initiative and maybe make more responsible decisions. And if necessary, renegotiate the contract and see if the client wants to change anything, alter anything, and see how they feel about that. The fourth step, the evaluation, it's self-explanatory. We just evaluate the progress that's been made. We affirm the achievements, set them kind of in stone. We show them different types of social services for whatever they wish to do. Whether it's to get involved CYF with children, so on and so forth. And then the follow-up is after everything's said and done, everything's complete, see how they're doing in the aftermath of it all, to see if they're A-okay. The third question is define the roles of social workers and human service workers in modern day society. Human service workers are what we see in everyday environments. They help us with our basic individual needs, living situations to help eliminate stress for the party involved. Human service workers are everywhere. They're almost like a building blocks to our society. That's how I see it, anyways. Um, we do the little things that will like either go unnoticed, or like it's just the small baby steps all compiling onto one to make one big progressive act. That's kind of how activism is, in a sense. Um, and it could be even volunteering for like homeless shelters, so on and so forth. Um, but these people are literally everywhere. Probably, the majority of people probably done some type of social service out of even out of volunteering, at least once in their life. So you don't even have to be a social worker to get involved to be a social service worker, in a sense. Question 4 was, how would an effective social worker develop a plan to assist individuals with enhancing day-to-day social functioning? The social worker must listen to each individual problem and gain an understanding of what they are going through. By gaining an in-depth understanding, social workers can make thorough strides to reach long-term goals by providing many resources for the person in need. The social worker will then check up on their clients on a regular basis to see what progress has been made and what could be done for their clients in the near future. Question number 5 is, how do social workers demonstrate effective listening and communication skills during a clinical interview? A social worker demonstrates their listening and communication skills best when, at first, they let the client do most of the talking about his or her story, only speaking when asking a question here and there. It is also vital to let the client know that you're listening based on facial expressions and note-taking. A social worker would then give his or her advice about the situation. Empathy is also really big in this. If you express empathy, you express a sense of understanding and also a sense of comfort. So empathy is really key. Which leads actually to the final question. How do social workers express empathy within a clinical interview? Empathy comes a long way in the field of social work. Particularly helps the client feel more comfortable and could say without words that maybe the social worker has been there in his or herself, or has dealt with clients like this before. It's always best not to have a look of concern, but carrying a look on your face showing that you do care. Nodding helps as well, but not like making too many sounds like, I see, yeah, because it just sounds like you're like almost like interrogating or something. But after the client is done telling their story, it is always best to give the client a positive affirmation in a soft-spoken yet confident tone, while giving them the motivation of having a positive future. And that's my answers.